how to set up multiple location local SEO strategy in 2022. So that's the exact thing that we will be talking about today. Of course, we'll cover a couple other things, but how to set up multiple location local SEO strategy for 2022. We are streaming today, so if there's any hiccups, I give you my sincere apologies. First and foremost, though, check out the new SEO packages at services.chrispalmermarketing.com. We have 5 to choose from. Every single level, whether you want to get the ball rolling, you're just starting out, you need a boost, or maybe you want to smash the competition, or maybe you want to go to the ultimate level. I have everything that could potentially and definitely help you out. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about how to set up multiple location local SEO strategies for 2022. Now, this is a very common question that I receive when we have business owners that are in a particular area. They have a flagship location, but really they're not really sure about how to set up the website or structure the website in order to target other locations. So let's just say, for instance, that we're in Texas, okay? So let's go down here into Texas, and I want to make this as easy as possible. So a business owner you're a business owner, you're not an SEO. So I want to make this as easy as possible so you can conceptualize exactly what I'm talking about, to make it easy. So when you give direction to, say, your content writers or SEOs or whoever you're working with, web developers, whatever, you'll have a general understanding of what the functionality or the structuring and the hierarchy of the website should be. All right, so let's go ahead and start laying that out. So we're going to take Texas, a very large state. Is that the largest state? Maybe. I'm not sure. I think so, though. It's one of the biggest, right? Big state. Huge. Lots of locations to target. A beautiful place, I would venture to guess. But with that being said, we can see that a few things stand out. So let's say there's Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, and Houston. All right. Now, we want to do multiple locations, but we're in Texas. Now, oftentimes, and I'm going to go ahead and share this with you. We're going to lay some of this stuff out so you can get a general understanding of what I'm talking about. All right. So let's say, for instance, that we have our website.com. All right. So here's our website.com. We're going to come over here, and let's say that our flagship is in Austin, Texas. So that's the flagship location, is in Austin, Texas. Okay. And then I'm going to get to the question of what comes up very consistently. It's something that I get asked, and I'll make this make sense of how I understand it. So hopefully you can understand it. But we go over here to Austin, Texas. Okay. This is where the flagship business is. Now, let's just say, for instance, that we're a power washer. I don't know, a garage door, it doesn't matter the business. Chiropractor, power washer, a roofer, a doctor, a lawyer. Doesn't matter, all right? If you're a local business, you're doing local business marketing, your flagship location is in Austin, Texas. Now, the question that comes up consistently is, well, which location pages should I build to expand my overall reach of my business, right? Because if you're in the type of business that does not have to give a deliverable of service, right? Customers come to you, or perhaps you talk to them on the phone. Like, it's not like you're willing to drive across the entire state. Let's just say you can hit the entire state. Like, you're not limited by maybe driving or having to go there or drop services off. Like, you can service the entire state. You want to take over. So the question always is, well, Chris, where should I allocate the dollars to build out location pages if my main business is in Austin, Texas? Now, what's great about Google is that Google is going to go ahead and outline Austin, Texas. Now, let's take, for instance, here. Now, stick with me here. You can see this red on the map, all right? I'll make this a little bit bigger. Let's put in Austin, Texas. Maybe I hope that you can see this okay. I'll zoom in on it just a little bit. So see how they're putting this red on the outside of Austin, Texas? But you can see that on the inside of Austin, Texas, there's other little areas, right? Correct. So when you have a business that's offering multiple services, all right, so let's just say that you are, I don't know, let's just say that you're a lawyer. All right, so you're a lawyer, you do DUIs, you do DUI, you're a DUI attorney. All right, you might do criminal, right? So criminal law, you might do divorce. I don't know why you would do all these things, but maybe you do, I don't know. So you do DUI, you have 3 separate services, but you're an attorney, all right? And you're in Austin, Texas. Now the question is how do I expand the proximity or my reach without wasting dollars that I'm not going to be competing with myself so I can really hit the ball running here, right? Or hit the ground running. So if we have our website, our flagship location is in Austin, Texas. Google outlines everything in red that's in Austin, Texas, as you can see here, okay? So as we can see here, we have Austin, Texas. Inside of Austin, Texas, you're going to see, if you zoom in a lot, you'll start seeing other areas. Allendale, Brentwood, Central Austin, East Austin, right? Westlake Hills. All of these are in Austin, Texas, okay? So when we're building these out, all right, and this is one way. There's a trillion ways to do it. This is the best way that we like to do it, that I'd like to share with you. If we know that the flagship location is in Austin, all right, when we're building out our location pages, we have 3 services. We build out what is called location-based service pages. So if I'm in Austin, I'm in the red bracket, it's going to be lawyer, let's be more specific, DUI, attorney, Austin, okay? DUI, attorney, Austin. Anything that's in the red bracket is going to go into the silo of Austin for that service. Meaning, if I'm looking at this particular map here and I can see that it's in red, when I scroll in, everything that is encompassed in Austin goes into the Austin silo of the location-based service pages. Now in 2017 or 15 or 16, you used to build a top-level page that was a dead page. And this is still what I see today. You can do better SEO and have to do less work. And that's what I want to lead you to. So what I mean by this is you would used to be, and I'm even guilty of this on some of my older sites. When you come inside of here, you'll see, here's the old style. So, and I'm not saying this doesn't work. It does, but there is a better way and an easier way that you can do this, and you can generate more power. So oftentimes what you'll see is this. All right, so you'll have your website.com/Austin, right? Or better yet, it would be like this: Texas/Austin/DUI attorney, right? Then when you go on to the Texas page, it'll list out all of the locations for Texas. When you go to the Austin page, it'll be literally a page about nothing. It'll be almost nothing there. It's just a folder. It's just a placeholder. And I feel that a lot of business owners, you don't have to structure it to have a URL or to have the placeholder on the website. So what I'm getting at here is I want you, if you're watching me and you're thinking about laying out your website, I'm trying to make this as easy as possible. It's hard to make it as easy as possible because it's a very easy concept. So if I do 3 services, my flagship location is in Austin. Anything that's inside of the red area goes after the service-based location page. So I'm a DUI attorney in Austin. Anything that's in this red area goes after. So here's what I mean by that. So I hope that makes sense. We have the website.com/DUI attorney Austin. Okay. We can look inside of here and we can see that Great Hills is in Austin, right? So what you can do to keep the relevance and create the silo, you can call it whatever you want. Topical clustering, you can call it whatever you want, okay? DUI attorney / Great Hills, okay? Now, why is that? I'm keeping the primary page, the primary location-based service page, as close to the root as possible. When I'm talking about Great Hills, it's still in Austin. Now this way, on each of the pages in the structure, they're all equally valuable. None of them are just placeholders. This is a DUI attorney in Austin, Texas. Great Hills is in Austin, and he's an attorney in Austin. It makes complete hierarchical sense. Okay? It makes topical sense. And that's why we want to build it this way. Now, let's say we want to expand. We want to start going into other locations. Well, then it starts to make sense that, okay, we're still a DUI attorney. We're still a lawyer. We're still a DUI attorney. We still do criminal law. We still do divorce. And our flagship is still in Austin, Texas. So what you'll see is, and this is, I want to put this out there, when you're doing multiple location SEO, you're going national. You cannot put your foot down on your homepage and say, I'm a lawyer in Austin, Texas. You simply can't do that. Now, you can talk about your services, but on our homepage, we need to be very selective about the wording. You know, it used to be, in my opinion, you know, and I'm not saying that, you know, other ways don't work. They do. It does. It can. Because oftentimes people come to me and they'll say, hey, Chris, look at this website. Look at this website. That website has been there for 10 years. I'm trying to give you a way that when you're a brand new website and you want to hit the ground running, you know, when there's competitors and they're like, oh, this guy came out of nowhere. These are the techniques that do it. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to rank and you're like, I've been in business 10 years. And then out of nowhere, somebody comes and just like page one. This is the kind of stuff that does it. Okay. And I want to give it to you. I want you to be able to win in your marketplace. If you're a business owner and you've been there for 10 years and you got people coming on the board and they're smoking you and you don't know why, you fix the foundation, fix the structure first. Fix the structure and power it up. Now, if you've been in business for 10 years, I'm not saying run out and change things. But if you're thinking about laying the groundwork and you want to start winning, then you want to start with your structure first. It's wildly important. Start with the on page, take care of the structure long before you start building links or doing anything else. Okay. Now let's talk about expansion of location, and we're going to get back to the homepage. Sorry to go off on a little tangent there, but I just want to make sure that this makes sense for you. So on our homepage, okay, oftentimes this is what I see. Okay. And I might be giving more information than what the video title says, but it's all around the general idea of multiple location businesses trying to branch out. Okay, they have a flagship location in a particular city or area. They want to get more ground coverage. Understandable. Who wouldn't? Who doesn't? Right? Everybody does. So when we're talking about areas inside of the red polygon, polygeographical, whatever the heck they call it, make sure you're building it off in a topical silo or a cluster, however you want to do it. The same thing goes with your supporting pieces of content. So informational based content about location. Speaking of this, adding density and keywords on the page. Okay, this is another thing. I have to get this out there. Building out a page, okay, that say DUI attorney. Here, let me show you guys something. One of the hardest niches, I have to let you know this. First and foremost, I want to say this. Building out a page, okay, targeting, say, Austin, Texas, and then having half of the word count talking about bus stops and museums and all this other type of stuff, taking away from the overall prominence of keywords, primary keywords on the page and other co-occurring phrases to the primary keyword is massively doing you a disservice. If I'm looking at a corpus of a document and a majority of the keywords are talking about geo-relevant details, you're taking away the relevance of the page toward the service that you're trying to promote. It might be geo-relevant, but it's not optimized as high as it could be towards the SERP. And if you want to have any inclination of what I'm telling you is true, let's look at one of the most difficult niches in the United States in one of the hardest places, which is DUI attorney. Okay, let's take a look at DUI attorney in Los Angeles. Let's go have a look and see what they're doing over there. One of the hardest niches and one of the hardest areas. And let's take a look and see how they optimize their pages. Let's see if they're talking about bus stops and museums, and let's see. I don't know. I'm not sure. DUI attorney is probably one of the hardest ever, and this is probably the hardest area to do it, right? So let's just go see for fun. DUI attorney, Los Angeles. DUI attorney, Los Angeles. Number one DUI attorney in Los Angeles. Let's take a look here. Who would have thought? DUI license, case, lawyer, test time, penalties, evidence, driving, DMV, jail. Here's the corpus, okay? Let's take a look at the page, all right? We're going to scroll down the page. Primary heading tags. Let's take a look at heading tags. DUI, driver's license, DUI. Okay, let's take a look down this page. Probation, legal process, co-occurring keywords, LSI. Co-occurring keywords, LSI, primary keywords, variations, and match words, right? Of course it is. As we scroll down the page here, like, let's take a look. Like, what are they talking about? They're talking about specific details that have to do with DUIs, attorneys, and DUI attorneys in Los Angeles, okay? But only those variations thereof. Now, I can definitely attest to having supporting content, okay? Not primary ranking content, but supporting geographical content that also includes, but you shouldn't be targeting primary keywords inside of these pages, okay? If I'm going to build out a ranking page, it needs to target the primary keyword, the variation, and the co-occurring keywords and entities, however you want to look at this, inside of that document. Any supporting piece of content can contain geographical information, of course. This is perfectly fine, but it should never make up the bulk or the overall density of the corpus. It just can't, because it's not going to support the main idea. So I just, again, you don't have to take my word for it. Go look at the hardest SERPs. DUI attorney, LA, divorce lawyer, LA, whatever the hardest things that you could possibly think of, go and look. Like, that type of strategy might fly for roofing in some city I never heard of, Oklahoma. But in true SERPs, you're doing yourself a massive disservice. However, again, if you're building out supporting pieces of content containing these types of details, it can be helpful for maps. But with enough patience, if you can build enough authority in the long run, building overall authority to the website and doing a slow run for maps, you will take over maps. You might get there a little bit faster, but overall you're lacking in organic. So we want to win three places. You want to win in ads, you want to win in maps, and you want to win organic, right? If you're a business owner, you need three spots. No matter where a potential customer for the business owner looks, you're there, you know? So I can't be strong in one aspect and hurt myself in the other. You're doing yourself a massive disservice. Enough about that, okay? With that being said, I've just had a couple business owners come to me trying to work things out. What I'm getting at is you can add whatever you want to your pages. Just make sure that the overall topic of the page, the density, the website, the corpus of the document, the overall majority, the prominence of the page is about the overall topic. Google is genius, but you still have to have the right words, the right amount of times in the right places. Okay. With that, enough about that. Let's get back on track. I mean, I'm just trying to answer I'm trying to answer a lot of questions in one video. So bear with me here. And I might have had one too many bangs today. I'm in a good mood today. We're doing good. It's good to see if you're here, but we'll keep going through the content. Plus, I had a couple questions from business owners. I wanted to lay this out. All right. So now we get the main concept. We have a flagship location for a lawyer, or we have a flagship location for a business, okay? Again, there's a trillion ways to do this. You do not have to do it this way. This way works very well, right? This way is optimal for me and for our clients. Okay, this way it works optimally. You can do it a ton of other ways. This is optimal for now. Okay. If it change, I'll come back and I'll make another video next year and I'll say, hey, you know that strategy? That thing doesn't work anymore. You guys should try this. In any case though, but it's been like this for quite some time. And two, if you're looking, this is another thing that comes up. If just because you're looking at a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old or a 10-year-old website that has a absolutely massacred website, and you're like, yeah, but the top performing websites, like, look at this. But those websites were developed many years ago, you know, and they're not going to change anything because they're winning. So you want to lay the foundation out right. Sometimes you want to match and mirror, you know, some of the on-page, okay, the right amount of headings, the densities and word counts. Oh, they have a video, you know, these types of things. But if they get the foundation wrong, it's only one gust of wind and that sucker's going to crumble. All right. So in any case, this is Austin, Texas. That's the flagship location. I'm just coming back to the main topic here, which is building out multiple locations for business owners, developing a strategy. All right. You want to plan the work and then work the plan, of course, just like anything that you're probably going to do. When we come inside here, we can see that Austin is right here. Google lays it out for us. You'll know that everything needs to be encompassed inside of the Austin silo, if that's how you want to look at it, or parent-child siloing, right? You'll know that it wants to be inside the Austin silo based upon the map and what the actual area of Austin is. So everything that's underneath it is underneath it. It's encompassed inside of Austin, okay? When we're talking about building out a homepage, it's perfectly fine, okay? Because this is what I'll see. All right, so when we have our homepage, okay, so you have your homepage and it's perfectly fine, right? You're going to have your main nav, okay, so you'll have your header nav here. All right, you're going to have your footer down here. So this is the foot. All right, so you have your headline, header navigation. You'll have your footer. You're going to have your H1, okay. You'll have your H2s, all right. You'll have your H3s, maybe another H2, an H3, and that's great. You can put whatever you want on the page. Just be wildly focused on making sure, depending, if you want to go multiple location, if you're just a one location, one state business, don't worry about it, okay? Brand out, you can do whatever you want with your homepage. But if you know that the overall plan, even if it's months down the road, I would highly focus on having a branded homepage. And you can stay wildly branded and talk about whatever you want as long as it's not inside of a heading tag, okay? So under your, when you have your H1, that should be a branded header. When you have your H2, it should be a branded header. And at no time, if you plan on having other locations, should you put main location data inside of your heading tags. Okay, if you plan on having a bunch of locations. Now, if you're only in Austin, Texas, but you do 20 different services, then talk about Austin all you want. But what you'll find is as you go on inside the campaign, your home, don't be surprised though if the home page is ranking instead of your internal pages. Okay, because this page here probably has your citations, your press releases, everything is internally linked back to the home page. Like, this is a strong page. So detune it to brand, push all the power to the internal pages if that's what you want to do and that's what you want to rank, okay? So let's bring this back. I talked about that particular point. Let's keep going here. Okay, so we talked about having Austin or having a main location and laying out some of the secondary cities or locations. Now, can you put other primary keywords in here? You can. But I would be wildly selective depending on what the actual website name is. I think it's a bit redundant to have it maybe 3 times. Now, if this is a branded domain, is it going to hurt you to write the primary keyword? Again, not really, because Google's looking at that page, okay? So we want to generally make sure that we have it in the URL if we can, all right? So don't get too stressed on that, but I would probably get the primary keyword in here if you can, depending on what the website name is, all right? And 2, like, do you want to build in 3 exact match? If you did a naked anchor text, that would be like 3 exact matches all in one. Because it would be like if your website was, say, austinlawyer.com/DUI attorney Austin /Great Hills attorney, like that would be bananas. You wouldn't have to build too many of those at least. All right, now let's move into other locations. Now we still have the same amount of services. All right. Now, generally, what you'll find is you're either going to, there's really 2 ways to go about it. You can either, in your headline navigation, okay, so at the top of the page, okay, is your main navigation. Again, it's repeated usually within the footer. Now, you have a couple options. You could put either the states that you're going to service up here, or you could list the primary services. This way, it's across the entire website, all right? Or you could do mega menu. But just make sure that you're listing out either primary service or primary location. You don't have to get completely insane and list out every location in the primary navigation. It could be in a dropdown, okay? What's the next piece? Oh, we need to go into a new location. All right, so let's talk about that. So as we're moving out into other locations, when we go out here at the map, just like we did for Austin, we'll know that we need another top-level page based upon, just to make it easy, the red line around the business. So do we need to build out another page or a supporting page for Mueller? Well, Mueller's in Austin. So to be honest with you, if we optimize and become the authority on that Austin attorney page, the probability of us showing up in Mueller is really high. Now, if you lay out your Austin page and you're bringing in, say, Brentwood, you're bringing in University Hills, you're bringing in Central Austin, but for some reason you just can't bring in Mueller, that's when you build out the supporting page for Mueller. All right. So you lay out the high level page, you give it your 3-4 months. You wait and see, you build your links, you do your work, and then you start tracking. Hey, am I ranking in this geolocation? Am I ranking in this geolocation? Because at the end of the day, they're all in Austin. So how authoritative is the domain? How authoritative is that page? Because if I do Lawyer Austin, I'll probably show up in all these areas, but some of them are going to be the left behinds. They're going to be hard. That's when you build out a supporting piece of content targeting the primary keyword with that location. All right. Or if you're just completely insane and you have a big budget, then build them all out. It's up to you, man. You're not going to get penalized for building out high quality content that's going to serve an audience. There's no guideline against building too much content. All right. And note, Google has quantum processing, so crawl budget really shouldn't be that big of an issue as long as you have high quality content. All right. Location. So again, we're in the red area. We know that this is Austin. Now, how do we know when we need to build out another area? Now, this is clear as day that San Antonio is going to be another top level page, correct? Now, College Station, that would be a top level page. All right. Houston, top level page. All right. Cedar Creek, top level page. Bastrop, top level page. Elgin, top level page. But then that also too, like, you don't want to go ham and build them all out, because we still need to take a look at, if you're doing residential services, how many homes are in the area? What's the general population in that area? What's the median household income? Are they renters? Are they buyers? Like, there's other homework that needs to be done. But in just the simplest form of SEO, if it's outside of the red area, it needs a new top level page. And what I mean by that is this. When I come over here and I have my website.com/DUI attorney San Antonio, all right, we know that San Antonio is for sure a secondary city. Like, we can tell, it's clear as day that San Antonio is not inside of Austin. Okay. So let's take a look at San Antonio. And inside of San Antonio, by building out the San Antonio page, depending on authority and age and time and how many players there are, we should be able to bring in, Alamo Heights, Leon Valley, Balkan Heights, Castle Hills, Shavano Park. But if for some reason we're really struggling, then building out a supporting piece of content for that area. Okay. So this is multiple locations. This is how to decide or plan out your strategy. Take a look at the map. Take a look at the area. It's a top level page. I mean, again, these are big cities. These are easy to note that there's population and you're going to be able to get business. Now, if you're in a smaller area, you still want to do this, but just keep in mind too, like your incomes, is there residential if you're doing residential services, median household income, how many people are there, or is it owners or renters? Like, it depends on your service. Every niche is different. With that being said, this is how you map out location details. This is how I would lay it out. This is how I would think about it. I want to keep everything as clean to the root as possible. Supporting content is going to come for primary, location, plus service pages based upon how my main page is doing or the flagship pages for those areas are doing. Another way to go about this too, and this works too. I've had wonderful success doing it this way, right? So website.com/Austin/ and then each of the services. Okay, so you can lead with area as the folder, and then on that Austin page you'll talk all about Austin. Okay, not about service, just Austin. We have done it that way in particular niches and it worked phenomenally well. Okay, however, it's been faster doing it this way. Okay, like we've done it this way. So, and then you'll have your attorney. It could be attorney at law. It could be DUI attorney. It could be whatever service it is. Okay, you have your primary location as a top level folder page. This is really a geo page, and then you have your service pages off of that. That Austin page, this page right here, would be basically an internal buffer page. We're going to build it up with link. It's going to be geo relevant. We'll list out our services in anchor text, not our headers on that page. Again, this did take us longer to reach the finish line. It was successful on multiple campaigns. This, for us moving forward, is the way that we're structuring websites. Okay. Now, with that being said, we'll switch topics. If you have any other questions related to, how to lay out a local SEO strategy or SEO strategies, or if you need anything at all, never hesitate. Please feel free to go ahead and ask in the section.